Hey everyone, Robert here, author of Expansion Mastery, the practical guide to living a fully engaged life. Are you ready to live life to the fullest? Are you ready and willing to transform yourself and your life from ordinary to extraordinary? Welcome, my friends, to the Fully Engaged Life. Welcome back to the show, everyone. It's been a while. I hope you've been well. I hope you've been engaging the practices that I have shared so far, and I hope you're having great success with them. I've been extremely busy building a new website for www.expansionmastery.com. It'll be unveiled very, very soon. I hope you're ready. Make sure when you go there to enter your email. I did not transfer the list from the old email site, and there was thousands and thousands of email addresses on there. So make sure that you sign up, as there's going to be special notifications and giveaways and all kinds of things going on that only the people that leave their email address on the list will receive. And of course, your privacy is of my utmost concern. I will not be sharing, selling, or giving away your email addresses or any other information for that matter. So you don't have to worry about that. And of course, I don't bother you very often. So make sure that you're in the know, that you're aware of upcoming specials and gifts, and also information that I won't be sharing publicly. I will be sharing with people on the list. Now, my wife and I decided to take a break, as we've been both working very hard the past couple years, and we took a vacation to Europe. Now, that may not sound like it would be out of our comfort zone, but I assure you it was. Now, I know how absurd that sounds, trust me, but the whole thing is we're very comfortable in Asia, especially Japan. But Japan, China, Bhutan, Nepal, all of those areas we're perfectly comfortable with. But we've never been to Europe, so this was our first trip. And in this first trip, we decided to go and spend basically a week in Spain, a week in Italy, and then a week in Greece. And just a shout out to all of you who are tuned in, if you happen to live in Spain, Italy, or Greece, I would like to tell you that we had a fantastic time, and thank you for your hospitality, because everybody we encountered in all three countries were extremely helpful, pleasant, courteous, everything. We just had the greatest time, and it didn't take long, maybe about 15 minutes, before we felt very, very comfortable in each country. So thank you to all of the fantastic people in the absolutely beautiful countries of Spain, Italy, and Greece. We enjoyed our visit very, very much. And that brings me to the topic of today's show. The purpose of this program, as with everything I do, is to help you live a more fully engaged life, to live life to the fullest, to be present in your life, instead of living life from the inside looking out, right? Trapped behind that veil of the ego. So you can see clearly, and more importantly, be clearly, so you can be your true self, experiencing this incredible adventure that we call life. Now, this all starts with developing mindfulness, and I'm referring to authentic mindfulness here, not what we rationalize mindfulness to be, because the rational definition is not the true nature of what is being taught in mindfulness practices. It's actually very different. And you guys know that because I've explained the difference and explained the practices and such. So I know you guys are well aware of that. But I keep putting it out there just for the new listeners tuning in because they may not know yet. So we understand that this mindfulness thing is very important. And my goodness, I have written articles and recorded shows, written in my book about mindful eating, right? Mindful shopping, mindful relationships, mindful lovemaking, how mindfulness permeates every aspect of our life. So today, I would like to address the idea of mindful travel. So you may be asking, well, how is this a spiritual practice? And what does this have to do with living fully engaged? Well, pretty much everything. First, we need to engage the practices, spiritual practices of mindfulness in order to attain this elevated mental state. And once we do that, we can start living more fully engaged. There's no question. The two go hand in hand. As you develop this higher state of mindfulness, you will live more and more fully. This is one of the incredible benefits of those specific practices. And then what does this have to do with living more fully and more fully engaged? Well, the travel is part of the adventure. Travel is one of the greatest ways that we have to initiate our own spiritual expansion. And I'm going to share some things from my own personal experiences of this recent trip to help illustrate the point and maybe bring some things to light. So the things I'm sharing here are not about bragging. They're so that you can grasp the nature of what's going on, so that maybe you have a different way of seeing things or of understanding things. So this is how esoteric knowledge and practices are typically transmitted from person to person. And if nothing else, maybe you'll have an idea of how to get more out of your travel. So if you're traveling around and visiting other countries, maybe this will shed a little light on helping you get even more out of your trip so that you get the most out of your time, money, effort, everything, and get to have a far better experience at the same time. So yes, it is because of the spiritual practices we get to do this, and then the implementation of these practices in action, the mindset that we attain that allows us to enjoy life to the fullest in everything we do. Like I said, travel is one of the greatest ways to ignite the expansion of your essence, your true self, that vibrating energy, pure consciousness that we are at our core. This is how it expands, is from stepping outside of our comfort zone and experiencing totally new and different things. And there's no better way to do that than travel, especially international travel. There was so many times on this trip that my wife and I could actually be consciously aware and feel this expansion happening. How incredible is that? We would comment to each other every so often. It was like, I can feel this expansion. This is so different. We were learning new things from these countries, and it was just amazing. So I'd like to break this down into a few examples to help illustrate what I'm talking about here, and hopefully to give you a better idea of how to live more fully engaged and how to get far more out of your travel experiences. The first thing is cell phones. Now, usually wherever we go, we leave our cell phones off the entire time. They're never turned on. We turn them off when we get on the plane, and we don't turn them on again until we are on the bus or whatever transportation we have coming back home from the airport. the entire time they're off. Now, I know already that's probably an absurd notion to many people, but if you're listening to this show, maybe not so much. Maybe you know. Maybe you're a little bit more in control, because you see, it's the egoic, unawakened mind that cell phone attaches to and becomes an addiction for. So this time, however, we had to leave our phones on because we had to call and interact with various people at hotels and cars to take us to certain events that we had booked and things like that. So we had our phones with us. But as we were engaging these things, we noticed, so many times you're in this beautiful place, all right? Such as Santorini, and the view, no matter where you are, the view is incredible. And my wife and I are looking at this view, and it was breathtaking. We couldn't even speak. We're just in awe. We've never seen anything like that. The Aegean Sea, come on. This thing was incredible. And we're looking and enjoying. And as we were doing that, we were getting ready to walk away after we had been there. I don't even know how long. And it caught us because we turned. And this row of people that were standing there a little ways down, every single one of them, they were faced out towards this incredible sunset in the Aegean Sea. But every one of them had their head down looking at their cell phone screen. No one was looking at the beauty in front of them, at the absolute splendor that nature was providing them. This opportunity, they were there physically, but they were not there mentally. They were not there spiritually. See what I'm getting at? This is part of the thing that we have to be careful of. We can't allow ourselves to be sucked into that little screen all the time, because life is looking in the opposite direction. It's looking outward at everything in front of you. For my wife and I, we were standing there. I had my arm around her, and we had a nice glass of Greek wine, and we were just standing there in absolute awe of where we were. Because for us, going to Greece was huge, way out of our comfort zone, right? And it was just so far out of anything we've ever done. We couldn't help but feel the expansion of this adventure. And we're standing there overlooking the Aegean Sea and the other islands and the sunset, and it was absolutely captivating. Breathtaking doesn't even begin to cover it. And to acknowledge where we were, thousands and thousands and thousands of miles away from where we live, and what we were doing and what we were seeing, it just, oh my goodness, you could feel your heart open and expand and start to ache a little bit. You could, I'm not going to lie, our eyes were filled with tears. And we're just standing there enjoying one another in this beautiful place. A very, very intense experience. And when that specific experience was coming to an end, at least for that moment, I can tell you we spent a lot of time looking at that view. But we noticed these people, and they're looking down into their cell phones. They're missing everything. They miss the sunset. They might look up enough to click a picture, and then they go right back down and they're scrolling Facebook or texting or whatever, right? And it was at that moment that I truly understood how a human being can become a zombie. And I don't mean that as a put down to anyone. In the moment that struck me, and it was like, these people, they were walking down these little cobblestone streets, and everybody had their head down. And it's like, look at all of this history, all of this beauty all around you. And they were oblivious to it. They were ignoring it. They tuned it out in order to tune into that little screen. And believe me, there isn't anything on those little screens that could top the views that we had in these places. Whether it was Spain, Italy, or Greece, every country had some tremendous, tremendous views and beautiful countryside and old abbeys and archaeological sites and everything else. It was absolutely incredible. Yet it seems so many people are more fascinated by looking at it on their phone and a little screen than they are actually being there. Do you understand? This is a difference. Being there. We were being in the moment. The idea is to be in the moment, to be present where you're at, to smell the difference, right? Every country, even every state in the U.S. has its own primary scent because of the vegetation and all of the environment. So that's one of the first things my wife and I do. We take big, deep breaths and we breathe in the different scent of that country or that area. And then we look at we stand there, we soak it up, we look at all the things that are so different and how they're so incredible and beautiful, and we look for things that we can bring into our daily experience from these other cultures. We don't stand there looking at our phone. So this is the first thing. In order to travel, when you travel, turn your phone off and experience where you are at and what you are doing in that moment. This is one of the things you need to do in order to appreciate and expand from your international travel. The other thing is make sure you know why you're going. So many people, we ask this of everybody. I ask this of friends, family. I even ask this of people I don't know when we're on trips. It's like, oh my goodness, isn't that beautiful? And they say, oh yeah. And I say, what is it that brought you here? What reason did you have for visiting this particular place? And I get the same answer 99% of the time. I don't know. I don't know is what they say. You should know. We knew why we wanted to go to Spain, Italy, and Greece. We had specific reasons, specific things we wanted to see, specific things we wanted to experience, and there was deep meaning, which becomes apparent once you become mindful enough. There's deep meaning into each of those. So we understood exactly why we were going and what we wanted to see, what we wanted to experience. And we had a very, very romantic trip. We did a lot of romantic things so that we could connect even more deeply to one another and to be more completely with one another and to just absorb ourselves in the other and our new environment. And it was incredible. It was incredible. The experiences that I had on this trip, I will treasure for the rest of my life. And the fact that I got to share them with the woman that I love so much, that I love more than life itself, just made it that much better. So when you travel, know why you're attracted to that place. Know what type of experience you're looking for. Feel the connection to it. See, when you're mindful, you can feel the connection to all of these things. And there was deep personal connections to these places that we discovered, and we wanted to go actually experience them. Another word of advice is this. When you go to a different country, experience the culture of that country. What I see time and time again is that those who lack mindfulness, they'll go to a different country, and instead of absorbing themselves in the culture, instead of fitting in, instead of experiencing the different things that that culture has to offer, they try to force the same habitual behaviors that they have when they're at home. When they go to somewhere international, they try to eat the same things they eat at home. They want their drink the exact same way that they have it at home, right? They want to have a hotel room the exact same way that they have it when they're at home. They want all the same things. Do you understand? You're missing the whole point. You're supposed to go there and immerse yourself into that culture. And then you are truly experiencing the culture. Drink things that you've never had before. Eat things that you've never had before. Do them in ways that you've never experienced them before. Enjoy accommodations that are very different than anything you've ever experienced. See what I'm saying? Allow yourself to be immersed into the culture and truly experience it. See, that's part of actually being in the moment and being in the moment where you are at. My wife and I tasted so many new and different things, and I have to say we loved it all of it. There wasn't anything we had that we didn't enjoy in any of these countries. Drink as well. There's many types of drink we had never had, and we went there to experience them. Hey, see, it's experiencing the things you don't know that acts as a trigger, a catalyst in your expansion. But if I go somewhere and I just order coffee and I order it the same way I always order it, and even though this country is offering all these incredible, unique dishes that they serve and enjoy, no, I want steak and potatoes, or I want a hamburger or whatever, right? See what I'm saying? It's amazing. It's amazing to drop into how do you guys eat? How do you guys live? What do you guys drink? What do you guys do, right? And what is so cool about this particular area of your country? That's what we want to experience it. And we want to experience it authentically, not by forcing our own mindless habitual behaviors in this new environment. So often when I observe people traveling, they work so hard at forcing their comfort zone into this new experience that is really not a new experience at all. They're experiencing the same thing that they do every day where they're at, just somewhere else. See the problem? And I do have to say that I was really, really pleased, because I heard several times on this trip between these three countries, I would hear people say, hey, can we put the camera down, or can we put the phone down, because they're taking pictures with their phone. Can we take that down and just appreciate where we are for a little bit? Can you believe it? I actually heard people saying that. I was so thrilled. I was like, yes, people are getting it. People are starting to awaken. They're becoming mindful. They're understanding. I was so happy. It seems like for many it's getting worse, but for some it's getting better. It's up to each of us to decide which way we want to experience life, mindlessly or mindfully. It's up to us. And then to get there, you have to engage the spiritual practices of mindfulness. I'm going to tell you, there's nothing more valuable than that I've come across. Obviously, full awakening is going to be an incredible thing, right? But mindfulness in itself is one of the greatest gifts available to us through spiritual teachings. And that's why I spend so much time focusing on it. It's the first phase of becoming far more awakened and living life more fully. So let me just recap this for you. If you're going to travel internationally, which I highly encourage you to do, because like I said, that is probably one of the greatest forms available to us to initiate a sense of personal spiritual expansion. If you do, first, know why you're attracted to that place. Figure it out. And don't accept, I don't know, I just am. Don't accept that anymore. Look inside yourself. Look inside and find the answer. The answer's in there. You have the answer. You don't need to seek it anywhere. The answer's there. Hey, at least to some degree, you'll be able to figure it out. And then maybe once you get there, you go, oh, yes, this is what I thought. This is why. And you'll feel that deep connection to it. The second thing is put the phones and the computers and the distractions away and truly be where you're at. Truly experience where you're at and truly experience it with the person you're with. Unless you're by yourself, and then just experience it, right? But if you're with somebody, especially if it's a romantic relationship, experience it with them. and be there fully together. And then immerse yourself in the culture. Forget about your habits, forget about your preferences, forget about all of that stuff that you've used to create a comfort zone, and actually become someone that fits in the environment you're in. Eat as they eat, drink as they drink, do as they do, live as they live, so that you can truly enjoy and experience where you are at. Drop your comfort zone, your day-to-day comfort zone, and learn how to be comfortable someplace totally new. And I will say this about the recent trip we were on. The food in Spain, the food in Italy, the food in Greece, absolutely outstanding. Outstanding. The wines in Spain, Italy, and Greece, again, phenomenal. The sights, incredible. The people, come on. Absolutely amazing. We enjoyed everyone we were with. We even made some new friends in these countries that we plan on keeping in touch with. It was great. So take a look at the comfort zones you've created. We have many people that come out here. I have students and even clients that visit. And when they come out here, we have people that have a very difficult time eating the way we eat here in California, especially if they come from the Midwest, because it's a shock. And their palate has been so corrupted and addicted by corn syrup that they crave that sort of thing. So they think they don't like other foods because it's not filled with corn syrup. In reality, it's just this addiction to the chemical that they have, rather than what they do or do not prefer as far as taste. But when we go somewhere and we're afraid to try new foods and new things, and we cling to our old stuff, or we at least try, but I don't like it. See, you are not experiencing a sense of expansion. And what I'm trying to do is help you to experience this sense of spiritual expansion. So by engaging in new experiences, such as totally new and different wild foods and drinks and experiences, things you're doing, whatever it is, by embracing those things, you get to experience the expansion. The more you stay locked in these little comfort zones of, well, this is just what I like, and this is what this is the only stuff I like to do, and this sort of thing, do you understand? You're not expanding. You are actually contracting. You're contracting in upon yourself, becoming more and more locked in your head and more dominated by the ego. And my friends, I can tell you one thing, that is not living. I know, I've been there. I spent a lot of time in my youth in that state. And I can tell you, when I stepped outside of that, nothing had ever felt better to me in my entire life. So if you're planning an international trip, and I encourage you to do so, I hope these tips help. I have provided various practices that will help you attain the ability to do this. So all you have to do is look at previous episodes and take your pick. There are so many practices that I've given you that will allow you to start to develop this sense of mindfulness and be able to have this sort of expansive experience whenever you travel internationally. It's bound to help. And I'll share one final tip with you today. It's really good. You know you've succeeded when you come back from these places and you miss it. Yeah, when you miss it. When you miss so many things about these other countries and the people and the culture. When you get home and you feel a little empty, a little sad, that you miss it. That's a good sign. That's a sign that you were there fully, that you experienced it to the fullest. Please make sure and support us on social media. Make sure that you're subscribing to the YouTube page. Make sure that you're sharing these podcasts with people so that everybody can benefit from them. And those like buttons and subscribe buttons and share buttons, those things are like currency now. So that helps us out as much as you can do that. I always appreciate it. And Until next time, my friends, I wish you the very best in your practices, your international travels, and your life. Take care.